Our lives are just constantly buzzing, right? Notifications, alerts, to-do lists. It's so easy to miss the quietest signals. So today, we're going to dive into those small, spiritual promptings. The ones we feel all the time, but let's be honest, we usually ignore. Let's explore what it really means to live a more responsive life.
Okay, have you ever had this happen? You're deep in a feed, just mindlessly swiping, and then this quiet little internal thought just pops up. Put the phone down. It's so easy to just dismiss it, isn't it? To just keep on scrolling. But what if that simple urge is actually something more?
Yeah, these are what you might call holy nudges, and they're not loud or demanding. It's that sudden thought to pray for someone you haven't seen in years, or that feeling in your gut that you should be the one to apologize, even if you think you're right. Maybe it's a creative idea that feels really important, urging you to write it down, or simply an invitation to stop everything and just be still for a moment. These are the whispers we're talking about.
So if these prompts are happening, why are they so incredibly easy to miss? Let's get into the reasons we end up tuning out the very guidance we often ask for.
And here's the thing. It's really important to get this. We don't ignore these nudges because we're bad people. We ignore them because we've basically trained ourselves to see them as optional. They just become another piece of background noise in a very, very loud world, and it's easy to push them aside for something that feels more urgent. Just look at this contrast here. It's pretty stark, isn't it? On one side, you've got the noise, our deadlines, our phone alerts, that whole spiral of overthinking and doubt. Busyness is our default setting. But on the other side, you have the whisper. It's gentle, it's super easily missed, and it requires something our noisy lives almost never give us: stillness. It's not a demand, it's an invitation.
But here's the good news. There is a really powerful way to kind of turn up the volume on that whisper. It's this principle that can unlock a richer, more dynamic spiritual connection, and honestly, it all comes down to how we choose to respond. And that brings us right to the core idea here: responsive living. And this isn't some passive, wishy-washy thing. No, it's an active practice. The two key words here are intentionally and quickly. It means choosing to pay attention and then acting on that prompting before you have time to talk yourself out of it.
And man, this quote just nails why this matters so much. Think about any friendship you have, right? It's built on communication, on listening, and then responding. Well, our relationship with the Spirit works the exact same way. That friendship deepens not just by hearing, but by responding, and, this is key, by responding quickly. That speed shows trust. It shows you're paying attention. It's how we move from just knowing about God to truly walking with Him.
So as you start to build this practice into your life, something really profound starts to happen. These little nudges, they begin to shift from being something optional to something that feels absolutely essential for a life of faith.
We hear that phrase a lot, led by the Spirit. But it can feel a little, mystical or kind of vague. What does it actually look like in our day-to-day lives? Is it just for big, life-altering decisions?
Well, the biblical foundation for this entire idea is right here in Romans. And this verse frames being led by the Spirit not as some special skill for a chosen few, but as a defining characteristic of being a child of God. It's actually part of our identity.
So the crucial point is this: being led is not about waiting for a lightning bolt from the sky. It's about the daily, moment-by-moment practice of responsive living. It's built in those small acts of obedience. Calling that person, saying that prayer, choosing stillness over scrolling. That is what it means to be led. And that's where a life of real peace and purpose starts to unfold.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually start? How do we take this from a cool idea to a reality in our own lives?
It's actually super simple. Here's a 3-step practice you can start today. First, just start to notice. Acknowledge that quiet thought instead of immediately brushing it off. Second, respond quickly. Don't let doubt and overthinking creep in. If the nudge is to pray, pray right then. If it's to text someone, just do it. And third, trust. Act in faith, believing that God is in fact the one who is leading you in that small moment.
So let's make this personal. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question. What quiet prompting, what gentle whisper have you been pushing to the background? Maybe one even came to mind while you were listening to this.
Your first step in responsive living can be a simple declaration, a prayer, a commitment to start listening more closely. So if you're ready to move these whispers from the background to the foreground of your life, let us know.
Your next great adventure could begin with that one single quick response.